Hi everyone, how's it going? Matthew Kadish here, author of the Earthman Jack Space Saga, and in today's video, we are talking about the Robocop sequel and how Neil Blomkamp, the purported director and writer of this upcoming Robocop continuation, has left the project. What does this mean for Robocop, and will the project still be going forward? We'll unpack it in today's video. What we're going to be talking about now is the big news that Neil Blomkamp, the director of District 9 and known for his science fiction work, he was going to be rebooting the Robocop franchise over at MGM, and he has now exited from that project. This comes to us from HN Entertainment. It says, Neil Blomkamp announces he has exited Robocop returns. MGM will move on without him. Earlier today, writer-director Neil Blomkamp, District 9, announced on his official Twitter account that he has exited MGM's Robocop sequel, Robocop Returns. Instead, he'll shoot a new horror thriller that seemingly would have happened first, and MGM won't be waiting around for him. Alluding to another director will be announced in the near future as the studio wants to begin shooting soon. And this is Neil Blomkamp's tweet where he just says, off Robocop, I'm shooting a new horror thriller and MGM can't wait. Needed to shoot Robocop now, excited to watch it in theaters with other fans. Blomkamp hasn't had the best of luck with projects lately, with 20th Century Fox suddenly ending Alien 5 during its development pre-production stages, after it got bought out by Disney, by the way. This year was about to shoot Greenland, starring Chris Evans, only for him to pivot to Robocop script development. Neil was recently working with screenwriter Justin Rhodes, who wrote Terminator Dark Fate, on a new draft of the script said to be a direct sequel to the original 1987 film directed by Paul Verhoeven and starring Peter Weller. Hopefully this new horror thriller will be worthwhile and he'll actually get something made in the next year or so, because it's been a while. I think his last movie was Chappie. As for Robocop Returns, MGM has yet to announce a replacement for Blomkamp, and if they are indeed keen on getting the film underway, we'll start hearing names very soon. So I actually did a little article about this on my website a while back where Blomkamp kind of gave us an update on what was happening with Robocop Returns. And basically, it was meant to be a direct sequel to the original Robocop. It was going to be R-rated. He was going to treat it like a Paul Verhoeven film, so he was going to kind of direct it in that same style and all that good stuff. But with Neil Blomkamp leaving, it is now up in the air who's going to be taking this over, but it still seems to be going forward as MGM is kind of keen to get it moving forward. Now, on its surface, this looks like a scheduling conflict. Like Neil Blomkamp had a horror thriller that he was set to direct that conflicted with the start of this shooting date that MGM wanted to get going with. But, you know, it could have been that he just left the project because he was having conflicts over his vision with MGM. Anthony, what do you think about this news?
Well, firstly, I mean, I'm a huge Robocop fan. I used to watch that as a kid. I mean, like, you know, a 10, 11-year-old. And it's only when I've gone back to it at an older age, I realized how horrific that movie is. I mean, you know, that is a seriously brutal film. I can't believe I watched it so young. I was just looking through his filmography, this Neil Blomkamp. I'm actually not, I don't think I've seen much of him. I mean, I've heard of the likes of Elysium, District 9. He's did a couple recently, Raqqa and The Escape. Not familiar with those, but yeah, they've got to get it right. I mean, you know, it's such an iconic character, Robocop. The original was so good. I think we're at that point in time now where you've got to be of a certain age to really, you know, recall the original. You know, it's a bit of a cult classic, but they've got to get it right. So whoever they bring in is you know, they've got to capture the essence of that original character. You know, we don't need some kind of crappy kind of modern day take on it. You know, I want that original vibe that they had. So interesting to see who they bring in, but take as long as you need for it, because don't ruin another of my favorite films. Please don't do that.
So what if MGM replaced him with Ryan Johnson? What would you say to that?
Boy.
Oh man. Well, that keeps me going on Twitter for at least another 3 years. So yeah.
Stephen, what do you think of this news, and who would you like to see take over from Blomkamp?
Gee, I don't know. I mean, I think the only movie I've seen from him was like District 9, but I can, he has that style, like the original RoboCop movies. So I could see where he would have been good for that. But then it's like Anthony said, it's like you really have to get the essence right. And I don't know too many directors these days who can really do that. It's like so many remakes and reboots and sequels these days. They're all just like so shallow. They just focus on trying to get a certain look, but they just don't get the feel of the character or the story. And it's hard to come up with somebody who could really, I think, pull it off.
Well, I think that we're ignoring the obvious here. Why not just get Paul Verhoeven to come back and do it? I mean, what's he up to lately? He hasn't been doing anything.
Yeah,
I'd be down for that. Yeah, I mean, the other one I thought, but it won't happen. But I'd love to see Ridley Scott get his hands on it.
I don't know about that. Ridley Scott hasn't been very good lately.
No, you didn't like the last Blade Runner?
He didn't do that.
He wasn't involved in that.
No.
Oh, that was Denis Villeneuve.
Well, yeah, him.
You're right.
Yeah,
I'd still like him to give it a go, but I think he'd take an interesting take on it. But who did you say, Matthew?
I said Paul Verhoeven, the guy who directed the original RoboCop.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, again, what has he been up to? But if anyone knows the character, the vibe, then he does. And yeah, I mean, wow, I can't think of too many examples where the sort of decades later, the original director has then done the reboot. There can't be many.
Well, this isn't a reboot. This is actually a direct sequel to RoboCop. At least under Blomkamp's initial vision, it was going to be a direct sequel to the movie. So he was going to kind of carry on what Verhoeven started, and he was going to direct it in the same style and stuff like that. And I'm really wondering what the motivation is behind this departure, because it just seems suspect to me. Like if MGM really wanted to go forward with this, they would have pushed it back a little bit or something like that. But a little rough there. All right, so we're going to get to some chats here. So we got Kermit the Log. He says, "Hail, ruin the man baby." So we've got some man baby fans watching the stream.
I've pushed it out on Twitter, so we might get some of my man baby army join us.
Mladen Kulik says, "I think it's a smart move to exit RoboCop's sequel to do his own original movie." Maybe, like Blomkamp hasn't had a movie in quite a while. His stuff keeps getting canceled. I think the last thing he did is he directed a commercial for Anthem, the video game. And he went way over budget with it or something. But the video game the commercial had very little to do with the video game. And people who saw it were like, what is this advertising exactly? It's like, it was very different from the game. Did either of you play that, Anthem?
No, I've seen it, but I haven't played it.
No.
Right on.
I haven't played gaming since the Sega Mega Drive, or was it his Genesis in your part of the world? That's the last time I gamed.
Wow. That was a long time.
Yeah, you're showing your age there, Anthony. Jesse Miller, hey boys. Hey Jesse. Jesse's a friend of the stream.
Hey.
I just did a Midnight's Edge live stream with him yesterday. William McLaughlin says they could always get Uwe Boll to direct RoboCop. And for those of you who don't know, Uwe Boll is the worst director ever in the history of cinema. He basically, as a German tax shelter, he bought out all these rights to different video games and made terrible movie versions of them.
Oh yeah, I know that guy.
Yeah, he did what was that zombie video game? Island of the Dead or something like that. I forget. You know what? Let me call up Internet Movie Database so I can tell you guys exactly how bad of his movies were.
While you're doing that, I mean, what good computer game movies? Because we've got this Sonic one still coming, haven't we? Which just looks.
We've never had a good
god-awful.
video game movie, but
This
guy brought it to a different level in terms of how bad it was.
Okay.
So he did House of the Dead. That's the one.
Oh yeah.
He did Alone in the Dark, Blood Rain, Dungeon Siege, which came out as In the Name of the King. And if you guys have ever seen any of these movies, like they are really bad. He did Far Cry, the Far Cry movie. Couple of other Blood Rain ones. It's just like he actually tried to do the Warcraft movie, but Blizzard, wisely enough, told him to take a hike. So it was he's just widely known. He's worse than Ed Wood, apparently. So people believe that he is legitimately the worst filmmaker to ever live.
Ever, huh?
Yeah.
I thought talking of like computer games made into movies, I held out hope for Assassin's Creed when I heard they had Fassbender lined up, and I thought it was the kind of a kind of narrative and a setting that I thought this could work, and they've got a really good actor in, and then I saw it and it was dreadful. So
it was a very boring movie. Hollywood has yet to crack the video game adaptation. I think the last one I saw was the new Tomb Raider, and that was okay. I think I'd put it on the same level as Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
So Mladen Kulik says, I don't think he is interested in making it in Hollywood. So basically thinking that Neil Blomkamp doesn't care about being a big Hollywood director. He just wants to make his own movies. I guess I could see that. He comes from South Africa. He's kind of, what's his name? Peter Jackson's protege. So, he's got that going for him. I'd buy that for $1, but seriously, some movies don't need reboots or sequels.
Yeah.
It's true.
Bravo.
Mr. Kulik also says Robert Rodriguez would be a good choice to direct it. Hopefully he's busy with Alita 2 at this point. But we don't know. Paul Verhoeven is 81. 81.
That's all right.
He could still direct a movie at 81. I don't know why he wouldn't. Let's see here. Or Wes Ball, who did Maze Runner. Well, that was a pretty good movie. I could see that. Neil Blomkamp has Oat Studios on YouTube where he directed short films. So he was a YouTuber to start off with. Huh? Interesting. And Jamie Vanderhorst says Assassin's Creed was way worse than Tomb Raider. Yeah, I guess. I found both movies very boring. That's just me. Steve, did you see either of those films?
No. I got burned out on video game movies a long time ago. It just, like you said, they just can't get them right for some reason. I mean, the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider movies were okay,
I hated those.
But yeah, I mean, for what they were okay. But I don't think I've ever seen any video game movie go beyond mediocre, except maybe Mortal Kombat back in the day.
Mortal Kombat's probably the best of the batch.
Yeah.
In terms of video game adaptations. Ruin, did you ever see Mortal Kombat?
No, I didn't. I saw Street Fighter with Van Damme. That's right, isn't it? Van Damme and Street. But like Steven says, you kind of, you try them and they're just awful. I don't know what it is. I think one of the worst, which I didn't watch, maybe watched 5 minutes, was didn't they make one on Battleship?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, what? Yeah.
I don't count that though, because that was a board game adaptation. That was not a video game adaptation.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, of all the board games as well. Wow.
Yeah.
But in terms of Street Fighter, the real shame of that movie was Raul Julia's last performance. You remember that? He played M. Bison. He was a great actor, and he actually contracted some type of weird tropical disease while shooting that movie and died shortly after.
Whoa.
And it was just like what a terrible end to such a great actor. That's what I remember that movie for.
Yeah, I remember that. I saw that movie on my birthday when it came out. And even as a kid, like me and my brother, we saw that and we were just like, this is horrible. It was just like one of the worst movies ever. But it was almost like some movies are so bad you like it. It was almost like that. But yeah, I remember it being Raul Julia's last movie, and it was just like,
Did you ever see The Legend of Chun Li, the follow up to the?
oh no, I did not.
That was even worse.
It looked worse in the trailers. I didn't ever even bother. I forgot about it until you just brought it up.
Go on YouTube and look at some like the Ralph the Movie Maker or people's videos who review it. It's actually more entertaining than the movie itself.
I'll bet. Yeah.
Prince of Persia: Sands of Time 2010 is the best movie game adaptation. I disagree. I did not like that movie at all.
That either.
Yeah, not seen it.
3 words: Super Mario Brothers.
Actually, good shout. In fairness, it's probably the pick of the bunch, isn't it? Really, I mean,
that movie was a terrible adaptation. Though.
Are we talking Bob Hoskins here? Is that the one?
Yeah.
Bob Hoskins with his Latino brother. Jonathan Leguizamo as Luigi.
What the?
I thought Bob.
What
the Bob Hoskins casting was good. We have to come on. We got to give it that.
That was a good casting call. But then they cast a Hispanic brother to play his Italian brother. It was the weirdest thing. And then Dennis Hopper as King Koopa.
Yeah, but he was like a dinosaur gangster. I was like, what?
Yeah, and the Mushroom Kingdom became like the cyberpunk dystopia.
Yeah.
Like it was a terrible adaptation. It had almost nothing to do with Mario Brothers other than when they got into their costumes.
I don't understand how movies like that get made. I just don't. The mentality,
like someone like Bob Hoskins. Do you not think like about? So halfway through the shooting, he must be just a thought. Oh, what have I done here? What am I doing? Get me out of this.
He might have been thinking that during Who Framed Roger Rabbit because that was such an off the wall production, and so he might have been like, "Well, I've been through this before.
Right.
Give it a shot."
Well, famously, Alex Guinness did in Star Wars. He was not sold on that at all. He thought it was a disaster. He hated it. He had nothing good to say about it. So, yeah, he was wrong. All the rest were probably right.
But which is your favorite movie based on a video game, if you had to pick one?
God, it's tough, isn't it? It's tough because there's not been a lot of good ones.
Of the bad choices that we have, I would say mine is probably Warcraft.
Okay, yeah.
Steven, what about you?
Yeah, I haven't seen Warcraft yet. I would have to say Mortal Kombat, probably.
Mortal Kombat.
As far as out of all the ones I've seen, that's the only one that even though they changed a lot with it, I remember as a kid watching that, and they did get the feel right, And as a kid, it was fun, it was exciting to watch the movie. So I think they did the best they could with that one. But yeah, there haven't been too many good ones though.
I'll go Street Fighter for mine. I know it's terrible, but I was a big Van Damme guy, and I was that age, and yeah.
I'm still a big Van Damme guy. Have you seen his Amazon original, Jean-Claude Van Johnson?
No,
you haven't seen Jean-Claude Van Johnson?
No, I don't have Amazon, so no. I'll have to find other means.
I got to do an aside just to pitch you this concept.
Okay.
So Jean-Claude Van Damme is a down on his luck actor playing himself. Okay, he's actually Jean-Claude Van Damme in the show.
Right.
He's recruited by a secret government agency, played by Bill Cosby's wife from The Cosby Show, and basically he gets the new moniker Jean-Claude Van Johnson as his spy name. And while he's abroad shooting movies as Jean-Claude Van Damme, he moonlights as a secret agent to take down a terrorist organization.
Oh.
What? And it incorporates Time Cop into its narrative. So there's time travel in it.
This sounds like Rise of Skywalker. So what's his name again? Jean-Claude Ruin Johnson.
Yes. But the fake movie he's shooting as his cover is a action adventure version of that Mark Twain book, Huckleberry Finn, and it's called Huck. and Jean-Claude plays Huckleberry Finn as a karate wielding adult expert. And you literally have to see this show to believe it, because it is so off the wall, but it's brilliant. It's really funny.
Whoa, okay.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, it's great. So Jimmy, yes, it not only sounds awesome, it is awesome. I don't know if they're coming back for a second season, but they definitely should, because they kind of left it open to do that. And Jean-Claude is great in it. Like he knows it's the joke. He knows he's the joke of the thing, and he just embraces it. It's actually fantastic. Detective Pikachu is great. I don't count that as a video game adaptation, because Pokemon was a card game.
Yeah.
To start off with.
Laying down the rules here.
I have not seen JVCD yet, but I've heard good things. I don't know. That's more of a dramatic role, I think. Hard to say. Oh no, Jean-Claude Van Johnson's been canceled. That's a shame.
What?
But you can still get the first season on Amazon, and it's definitely worth checking out just because it's so ridiculous. I could see why they would cancel it though. Like I wouldn't say it was a good film or a good TV show, but for what it was trying to do, and if you're like a fan of Jean-Claude Van Damme, it's absolutely fantastic. a lot of really good Van Damme moments in it, and he actually plays multiple characters in the show.
Oh, no.
So, like it's showing off his acting chops.
Well, either that or they thought we're going to get our money out of Van Damme. We've got him here. He's going to play half the cast. He did. You probably had them over at your side of the pond as well. He did some TV commercials here. It was one of the beers. I can't remember which one, but he was really funny in it. He had this kind of clip-on mullet thing, and he was doing all the moves in like these icy sort of conditions. It was really, really funny actually. It was like that, self-deprecating. So obviously he's took it onto this Amazon feature as well.
I think the last commercial he did out here, he was doing the splits between two moving semis, like big semi trucks, and he was just like between them, like with doing his iconic splits, and holding like a beer or something like that. I don't know what exactly, but I know that I think on YouTube there's a big making of documentary about this commercial, because it was like kind of dangerous for him to do. But I think that was the last thing I saw him in terms of like new stuff out here. He should do more movies though. He's such a classic. He's kind of getting to that Stallone Schwarzenegger period in his career where they just don't give a fuck. So they're just doing whatever they want. And I think like he's kind of doing that too. Thank you for watching this video. For more movie, TV, and entertainment news and analysis, please be sure to subscribe to this channel and also hit that bell icon so you can be notified every time a new video is posted. And follow me on the socials. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And of course, if you'd like to support the channel, check out my books over on Amazon.com. You can go to Kadish Books, KADISHbooks.com, and go right to my Amazon profile and see the kind of things I offer there. Anyway, guys, this is Matthew Kadish. I'll catch you in the next video.